Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new around here, hello, welcome, my name is Charlotte. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be revisiting a video that I did about a year ago, and it's called If You Like This Book, You Might Like This TV Show. As we might know by now on this channel, I love TV shows and I love talking about TV shows and I love recommending you all TV shows. In this video, I basically give you a popular-ish book that you might like or you might like, and then I give you a TV show recommendation based off that book. I'll link the first one in the description below. Once again, I've tried to pick shows that I don't think many people have watched and is quite underrated. I have tried to pick some newer ones that I've watched over the past year, but I haven't got too many, so I've kind of pulled some other ones that I've watched, like backlist ones that I've watched for a while. So for the first one, if you liked the Magnus Chase trilogy, you might like Good Trouble. For people who know Good Trouble, you might be thinking, this is a very different sort of TV show. In the Magnus Chase trilogy, you're following Magnus, who's a homeless kid, and he dies, and then he ends up having to go to Valhalla, basically the place where Norse gods and people who are like of Norse heritage die and go and live like the rest of their life. They kind of live in this like hotel-esque thing, and you're kind of like following Magnus across his journeys, across his adventures, as he has his home base within Hotel Valhalla. And the reason why I'm recommending Good Trouble is because we follow two sisters, Callie and Mariana. You might have to watch The Fosters before watching this show because that's where they're from. But Callie and Mariana are adopted sisters, and once they've done with university, they decide to move out to Los Angeles together and kind of start their life. Callie wants to go into law and Mariana wants to go into IT. She wants to go into like coding. They move into this place called the Coterie, which is a communal living sort of place, which Callie didn't know about before they moved there, but it's a place where you share a big bathroom. You will have to chip in for like toilet paper and all that sort of stuff, and it's just one big building with different rooms, and you've got like a communal space. And at first they're like, this is weird, I don't like this is gonna be really weird, like just randomly having to mingle with new people. But then it becomes such a found family, and it becomes such a beautiful dynamic between these characters, because not only do you get to see the lives of Callie and Mariana, but you also get to follow the lives of these other people living here.
Welcome to your new home.
I don't want to live here! Hey, Mom. No, I told Mama I'm fine.
And it's just amazing. When they announced that it was going to happen, I was like, I don't know if it's going to be that good. You know, it's a spin-off. They might just be doing it for money. But this show is honestly so pure and so amazing. I love it so much. And just like Magnus Chase, it follows a very diverse cast of characters and follows a lot of diverse and very relevant, that's the word, relevant, oh my god, I can't speak. A load of relevant topics that are going on in the world right now, such as Black Lives Matter, mass incarceration, misogyny against women in the workplace, especially in IT and in coding and in technology. It also deals a lot with suicide and depression, anxiety and mental health. It deals with a varying spectrum of sexualities. You've got bisexual characters, gay characters, trans characters, and it's just so good and so pure and so funny. And you get so emotional and so connected to these characters that you only met like a couple of seasons ago and didn't think you'd even care about them, but now they're like your babies and you love them and they're so precious. So Good Trouble is such a good show. I definitely think you should watch it. I don't think you have to watch The Fosters to watch it, but if you have watched The Fosters, 100% watch Good Trouble. And if you have watched The Fosters, some of the characters or the family from The Fosters do make little appearances every now and again in Good Trouble. So for the next one, if you liked My Sister the Serial Killer by Yinka Braithwaite, I think you're gonna like Prodigal Son. I have talked about Prodigal Son on this channel before. It is one of my faves. Of course, in My Sister the Serial Killer, we follow our main character whose sister is a serial killer. Oh my god, shock horror. And it's about our main character having to deal with that and helping her sister cover up the murders, and just morally dealing with the fact that her sister is a serial killer and whether that she should abandon her sister and hand her sister in or stay loyal to her sister. In Prodigal Son, we follow our main character Malcolm Bright, whose father is a serial killer. He was a very famous serial killer within the 90s, and then fast forward to present day, Malcolm is working as a profiler within the NYPD. And his thing is solving murders. He gets his fix from solving murders, but he's also dealing with the repercussions and the trauma that he's had from his father being a serial killer and all the unanswered questions he's had from his father being a serial killer, and whether that's been passed down to him, and just in general how his life has been affected by his father being a serial killer.
Yo, what are you doing here?
I need a profiler. Come on.
You know the FBI fired me, right?
Good thing I'm NYPD.
Maybe let's not mention
That your dad's a serial killer? My lips are sealed.
He's also got a sister who has to deal with that as well, and their mum. I see it as Criminal Minds meets this, and I love it. I'm addicted to Prodigal Son. It's got an amazing cast. I love it so much. I think if you like that whole psychological serial killer, family of a serial killer, having to deal with that, you're definitely gonna love Prodigal Son. It's so good. I love it so much, and we haven't had an episode for a bit, but one's coming out soon and I cannot wait. So for the next one, if you like the Nevermore series, I think you're going to like Ghosts. Ghosts is a BBC British TV show, and I just feel like it's got a lot of connections to Nevermore. So of course in Nevermore we follow our main character Morrigan, and she is a cursed child, and she's set to die on her 11th birthday, and her parents and her family hate her and just want her gone because she's a cursed child. But then when her 11th birthday comes around and she's expected to die, this mysterious man called Jupiter North whisks her away to the city of Nevermore to be taken and to accepted into this wondrous society and to kind of create a family of her own. And she moves into this hotel where she makes friends with everybody who lives and works there, and that's the aspect that I'm connecting to Ghosts. So Ghosts, you could say, is both historical and not historical, but the majority of it is set in present day, and it follows our main character Alison, and she finds out that she is inherited through a great aunt, through a very long distant aunt or something, that she's inherited this like big manor. When she moves there, her and her husband have to decide what they want to do with it. They want to live there, do they want to create it into like a wedding venue or a hotel or something like that. That's what they have to decide with. And also they've gone from living in like a small flat in London to this grand home. But then one day when Alison has an accident and falls off a ladder, I think, and hits her head, she starts to see ghosts that live and haunt the manor. And they're ghosts that have all visited the house or have been in the vicinity of the house and died there.
It's all ours.
What did that girl just say?
She must be related to you.
This is gonna make one incredible hotel.
What will become of us? We could always try haunting.
Get out, get out.
Hello!
Get out, get out, get out.
Me again!
Get out, get out.
This is all happening so fast.
I obviously haven't said yet that the people who've written this and star in it are the cast of Horrible Histories. So if you like Horrible Histories, you're gonna love this. It is a comedy, and it is honestly one of the greatest things I've seen for so long. It is just a Horrible Histories comedy put into like a haunted mansion, haunted manor, and it's amazing seeing all these ghosts interact, from people from like Neanderthal times to literally like the 80s. It is so funny, so hilarious. The characters are so individualistic. It's just so whimsical and so fun and so funny watching these characters interact like you kind of do in Nevermore. Obviously, Nevermore is more fantastical than Ghosts because Ghosts is set in the present day and it is more of a contemporary, but just with the whole supernatural ghost element. I think the whole aspect of them living in this one big place and interacting with it in this one big place is just so good. And the shenanigans and the problems that they get up to and get put into in Ghosts, brilliant. 10 out of 10. I do not want this show to end. I could watch this show for the rest of my life. It is so good. So the next one is not a book that I've actually read, but it's one I want to read, and it was just a really easy pairing for this TV show. So if you liked My Dark Vanessa, I think you're going to like A Teacher. So as we all probably know, My Dark Vanessa is about this woman looking back on her past relationship she had when she was a child with her teacher, and how back then she didn't think of it as a bad thing, and she now knows obviously it was a very toxic thing. A Teacher basically has the same premise. It follows Eric and Claire. Claire is a teacher who's just moved to this school, and Eric is a senior in high school, and then when he gets extra tutoring from Claire, they start a relationship, and then it goes from there. They kind of get found out, and it spans quite a few years. It spans like 10 years from the beginning of their relationship and how that progresses and how that comes about and how it unravels and how people find out, to Eric when he's in his mid-20s and dealing with that and dealing with the repercussions and how much that affected him.
Listen, you cannot tell anyone about us, ever.
Is that a hickey, Claire?
What?
Tomorrow, you're gonna go back to him, and this will have never happened.
I really want to start a family with you.
What is this to you? Is this just some bored housewife shit?
I'm risking my entire life to be with you.
When I first heard of this show, I was like, this is just another show romanticising, glamorising teacher-student relationships. We don't need this. This is not Pretty Little Liars. But then when I saw that it was on BBC iPlayer, I decided to give it a chance to see what it was like, and I have to take back all the criticisms that I put forward to it. It is done so well because it doesn't romanticise the relationship. It clearly puts forward that Claire was taking advantage of Eric and was grooming Eric and trying to make Eric seem like this was the most romantic thing to happen. And then obviously later on in the show, it really delves into how much this has affected Eric and how being in a relationship with the teacher, and how even just like days after or years after, months after, how much that affects him and how angry he is at her for ruining his life. They meet years later and she's like, oh, I went to prison, I had to deal with all this, but he's like, I don't care, that's not my fault. That is on you. You were the one who took advantage of me. You were the one who groomed me. You are the predator here. I was just a kid. My life is ruined. I have trauma because of you. So don't come here and try and have a go at me, and don't try and make me feel bad for you. And I just think it was done so well. I really do want to read My Dark Vanessa. I just need to get around to getting it and reading it. I do feel like they would fit very well just because obviously the premise and how, for once, it's not romanticising teacher-student relationships. So for the next one, I'm not necessarily recommending a book, but I'm recommending an author. And this one was kind of a stretch. It's kind of obvious that you would want to watch the show if you like this author. But if you like Shakespeare, I don't know if I'm going to put a Shakespeare book up here or his face, I don't know. Hi Shakespeare if you're there. If you like Shakespeare but you want a more contemporary but not a teen film-esque retelling contemporary feel of Shakespeare, but you want it of Shakespeare, you should watch Will. I watch Will because Jamie Campbell-Bower is in it. I don't need any other reason to watch it. But this is basically a contemporary telling of Shakespeare's life when he moved to London. So it's set back in those days. It's set actually in the 1500s? Yes, the 1500s. This is the 1500s. So it's set in the 1500s in London following Shakespeare. But it's got a kind of like alternative punk feel to it because they're dressing more in bright colours and more punk-esque, and they're jamming to modern music.
William Shakespeare. Never heard of you.
I have a play.
Of any quality?
I think so.
You can't just make up words! Someone must.
Money. Power. Greatness.
You see, it's all just theatre.
So it follows a more different life of Shakespeare, but not completely. Obviously, he's still writing plays, he's still being the greatest man ever to live. Following him as he falls in love with a girl and his relationships with people and his relationships with Christopher Marlowe, which is gay. Jamie Campbell-Bower does play Christopher Marlowe and he's amazing in that. His storyline though, I'm just remembering, obviously Christopher Marlowe wrote, oh my god, what did he write? Was it Dante's Inferno?
So we're gonna just absolutely ignore that I just said that Christopher Marlowe wrote Dante's Inferno. Dante's Inferno is written by Dante. It's called Inferno and it's written by Dante. I was thinking of Dr. Faustus. He wrote Dr. Faustus and that was about the devil and that sort of stuff. Please ignore my stupidity in this moment.
You actually see him kind of like go all devilish and see him trying to get into that and be all like, I want to get with the devil. I don't know, I can't really remember, but that was weird. That was a rocky ride, that was a time. I just wanted more gay stuff between Shakespeare and Marlowe. So it just follows Shakespeare's life in London, but with a punk alternative feel. And it's got a good cast in it, I must say. And it was just really good, I really enjoyed it. When I first started watching it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. But like a few episodes in, I was like, oh my god, I'm addicted. I'm addicted to this show. So for the next one, if you like This Is Going to Hurt, I think you're gonna like School of Comedy. I can't believe I've never talked about School of Comedy on this channel because School of Comedy is one of my OG favourite TV shows. I love it so much. Obviously This Is Going to Hurt is non-fiction and it's about Adam McKay, and Adam McKay writing about his time as a doctor, as a junior doctor, and the things he went through. He obviously does focus on some of the serious stuff, but majority of the time he's just taking the mick out of so many people and he makes it a really easy comedic journey. And School of Comedy is fiction. It's a sketch show. It was on E4 and I think it's on 4OD at the moment. I might be wrong. It was at least a year ago or something. It is a bunch of like kid actors or like teenage actors taking on like adult roles and doing sketches of adults in like work life and just in general life. So you have the reoccurring sketch of the white van men. They had the South African security guards.
How's it, my bro? No, fine, how's it? No, fine, what you watching here? Footage of the corridor on floor 5 between the kitchen and the broom cupboard. Is it there? Funny, you can see the stain on the carpet where Johan pissed himself at the office party.
They have all these reoccurring sketches. So if you just want a fun comedy sketch show, but done by teenagers, and it's just such a comfort show to me because I just know it so well and it's just so funny. It's got Will Poulter in it. This is one of the first things he's did, and it just proves that he's amazing both as like a serious drama actor and as a comedic actor. I want him to do more comedies in the future because he was so good in this. It's also got Jack Harries in it. Jack Harries as in Jack's Gap, because these kids all went to the same school together and within their drama class they made this, and then I think they took it to Edinburgh Film Festival or Fringe, whatever it's called, and then that's how they got it onto E4. So they all went to school together, so Will and Jack did go to school together. But it's just so funny. So many references I make is to School of Comedy, and I feel like This Is Going to Hurt and School of Comedy has that same comedic, taking the mick almost out of real adult life. Obviously this does touch on more serious things when School of Comedy doesn't. I just feel like it has that same vibe and this could easily be turned into a comedy sketch show. I can just feel it. And the final book is actually one that I used in my first video, but this book was just one of the only books that I think I've read that fits with this TV show that I want to recommend, and that is The Devouring Grey by Christine Ian Herman. This book follows the main character Violet as she moves to a town where her mum used to live, and she starts to find out these weird supernatural things that are happening within this town and occur all the time within this town, and that there's this place called the Grey, which is kind of like the Upside Down from Stranger Things. She also finds out that there are 4 founding families and that her family is one of them, and that they've all got special powers, and it's them having to deal with everything that's going on and the relationships between all the characters. So I think if you like The Devouring Grey, you're going to like the A-list. This show I think is on Netflix globally, and if it's not in the UK, then it might be on iPlayer, but it might be on Netflix. I originally watched this when it first came out on iPlayer because it has one of my favourite people in it, Mr. Jacob Dudman, and it follows a bunch of kids as they kind of go off to this like summer camp. None of them know each other, and you kind of mainly focus on this one girl as she's a little bit nervous to join. When they get there, they kind of settle in, have a bit of fun, but then this girl has another beef with this other girl who seems a bit off. She seems a bit weird and she doesn't really understand her. She's trying to suss her out, and then kind of weird supernaturally stuff start to happen. It's almost as if this other girl has a hold over everybody else in this camp, like she can manipulate them and make them feel certain ways.
So the camp closed down last year because someone died.
There are demons in here.
You need to be careful of Amber. She's dangerous. She gets inside people's heads, and then they're not themselves anymore.
So I feel like this whole enclosed space, even though this is a town and that's more like a summer camp and it's actually on an island, and a big group of teenagers with some supernatural stuff going on, they both kind of give me the same vibes. The A-list I definitely don't think was perfect, but I did have a good time with it. It was very fun to kind of work out what was going on and what the end game was and what really was happening within the camp. And the characters are all great. I really love the cast of characters, but I just think the whole teenage supernatural girl coming in and trying to suss out what's going on, they both kind of fit well together. So that is it for if you like this book, you might like this TV show. I definitely don't think I'll be doing another one for a while because I need more shows to talk about. I can't recommend all the shows under the sun because I haven't watched all the shows under the sun, against popular belief. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you like the sound of any of these TV shows, if you've watched any of these TV shows. Let's talk about them because I love talking about TV shows. If you're new around here, do not forget to subscribe, turn my notification bell on so you know I'm next going to post. All my social media links are linked in the description below, and with that all said and done, I'll see you all in my next video.